the Oklahoma newsroom, this is an OU update. I'm Jenny Carlson. The Sooners were going to have to make some changes on the offensive line this season after losing Tyrus Thompson and Daryl Williams off of last year's squad, but now obviously the indefinite suspension of Kenyon Friesen has continued to add questions to that unit. Ryan Aber joins me on the phone. And Ryan, where does the offensive line stand right now? Do we have a sense of who the starting five could be?
Well, I think we have a decent sense at really all spots, except for that other guard spot that Adam Shedd vacated. That one is certainly still in play with a lot of guys, Jamal Danley among them, that are competing for that spot. But really outside of that, we've got a pretty good sense of who they're going to be. Josiah St. John is going to be one of the tackles. We think there's a good chance that Derek Farniok could be the other tackle. Now, he's getting pushed a little bit, especially by a freshman, Drew Samia, who's just drawn rave reviews. Obviously, still has to make some more strides in the next couple weeks if he wants to break through that starting lineup, which would be very impressive for a true freshman to do that. But and then the other two spots are set in stone, and they have been for quite some time. Ty Darlington at center, you know, he's been the guy ever since Gabe Ikert vacated that spot, was able to even start when Ikert was around, when Ikert had to shift over to guard a little bit. And then Nila Kasatati, who was a part-time starter but was the primary guy last year at one of the guard spots. He'll be the full-time guy at one of the spots right next to Darlington.
You know, Ryan, there's been a lot of obviously question marks at a lot of different areas for the Sooners. You know, what about the wide receivers? Can they add some depth and talent? What about the secondary? Are they going to be able to get shored up? But that offensive line is a little bit of an untalked about area of concern. As you've talked to players, coaches, what you've seen and heard, do you get a sense like there's concern there about it? Are the Sooners excited about the potential, or where's your level of concern with this offensive line? Again, a group that doesn't really get talked about.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you talk to other coaches around the program and players at different positions, is that Bill Bedenbaugh develops talent, and he's done it wherever he's been. He's certainly done it during his relatively short tenure at OU, and they feel like they're going to be able to develop those guys into being players that can block for guys like Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon, that they're going to need to open up big holes in the running game. But also the air raid and the move to that offense can make things a little bit easier on the offensive line because the decisions for the quarterback are quick. They like the ball to get out of their hands relatively quickly, and that makes blocking for that in that scheme a little bit easier. Now, like I said, they're going to have to do a decent amount of run blocking as well, so they are going to have to open up holes, but maybe a little pressure taken off from that angle.
Well, Ryan, you mentioned that switch to the air raid and how it may affect things, and from what I've heard and read and seen, it sounds like the center quarterback communication is really important. Obviously, every position they've got to recognize what the defense is doing because they're switching and changing so much, but the fact that you've got Ty Darlington at that center position, such a crucial area, that's got to make the Sooners feel better about their offensive line despite all these new faces.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It really helps when about the smartest person on your football team, and I know Dimitri Flowers and Jordan Thomas, among others, might have claim to that as well. But it really helps when one of the smartest people on your football team is right in the middle of that offensive line, and that was the case with Gabe Ikert. It's certainly the case with Ty Darlington, and it really helps to have a guy who can read coverages, knows what to do, knows how to interact with the quarterback. And that's going to be a big key in this new air raid offense.
Be sure to check out the Q&A with Derek Farniok, a potential starter on that offensive line in Monday's Oklahoman, and continue to follow our coverage on News OK as depth charts and starters are announced. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.